Hello, I got a new update on how these series of events keep evolving, how they keep morphing into crazy stuff, and I think it's based off of how you think. We all have a unique way of thinking, and we all anticipate the next set of events, or we always anticipate in any little situation. It's weird. Almost any situation, any conversation, anything that your brain is taking in, it'll whether it's a story, a movie, a conflict, whatever, an argument, even things that are going good, anything. Your brain's always anticipating and predicting and wondering, and just whatever, it goes off in a split instant, in a split second. It goes off on into these guesses, or these possibilities. And so what's weird is how all this has been happening, these boggles and everything, and it's just based on, I think, these mirror monitors or whatever, these little quantum, little parasite looking thing, or whatever, sounding things. I think that's what they play off, because some of these noises, man, when they start with some bullshit, it's like they're tuned in to your brain, what you're gonna anticipate these things to say or produce, the type of shit they're gonna, like, where not the conversation, but where your reactions are gonna go. It seems like it predicts it, and just adds it in there, and it's like you're doing, almost unconsciously, subconsciously, but with the intervention of something else, like it blends in. And I don't know, it's almost like if somebody walks up to you and says, "Hey, or someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, your name's John, right? John." It's almost as if pretend they're in your head, and you're looking in the mirror, and they say, "Hey, your name is John, right?" And you're looking at yourself also, like involved in what, like, that instant, right? Hey, so imagine you look at yourself in the mirror, and someone walks up or whatever, and they're in there too, together, and you're looking in the mirror, and they're talking to each other, and one says, "Hey, your name's John, right?" And you'd be like, "John, John, the one from the liquor store, when we're," and then, well, at the liquor store, remember, they opened the door, and you bought that lottery ticket, you scratched it, and you were like, "Oh," and then this and that. Anyways, well, I just made that up right now, just on the fucking, just made it up. Well, it's almost like how these things they'll just go off on like how what you may unconsciously, subconsciously predict or something. I don't know. It's weird. Like the reason why I'm making this video. I gotta document this, because it's a trip. When these noises first started, it started with some names of some people that, like I mentioned a long time ago, the names of an ex-girlfriend, and some names of some dudes I used to hang around with a long time ago. And I know for a fact, for certain, that when I blacked out around them. I blacked out around them, and I don't know what ever happened the next day. I wake up the next day and I'm just all alone, and there's no one around. Maybe one straggler in one instance, moose, digging through my closet. But yeah, I don't, it's just weird, and it happened around like 3 or 4 people in 2 or 3 occasions. And it's those names, interestingly, that popped up in my head one day 3 to 4 years ago, messing with my head, talking about, oh, say you see Hammer, say you see this person, say that you see that, say that you see this guy, say you see this other guy, or whatever. Oh, they're your friend. Oh, we're somewhere and we're stuck and we can't get out, and we need you to say that you or whatever. And all this was all of this was like after, I don't know if it was before or after another impression. I don't know which one, the ping pong, how it started, but I don't know which impression was under the impression that I can hear, and was going along with another impression that was acting like me, while they just talk back and forth into each other, but trying to blend me in slowly, like, oh. And so these impressions stopped. They're talking about, oh, we need your help and blah blah blah, and I'm thinking they're talking to me, but I guess they were talking to another impression within me, I guess, supposedly, that was someone else. And my personality, my identity, it must have been swirling around with some of them other names without me knowing. And like, remember what I said, like, if these noises are talking to you and they talk about a name, every time you think something, they'll snatch that thought and they'll attach a name to it. It'll be addressed to another consciousness or someone else. And I wonder if other consciousnesses that connect, or I wonder if some consciousnesses are forcefully connected without even knowing, and they can create a forced conversation between your consciousness and another consciousness. Because I've noticed I'm always like involuntarily involved somehow, like they pull me into something, like force me to react. They force a conversation, force me to react, and then that forced reaction that comes out of they grab that, like, to keep a wheel turning. You know, I keep detaching, like wanting to get back to any, little aspects of life and just carry on in my reality. But they'll just, out of the blue, if I pay attention to something, they'll react to it and then react back, and then my brain hears what their reaction was, whether it's a question or something deep, and then my brain, like, again, it's like rape. It involuntarily thinks of something, and the trippy part is, this is how I know they're playing off of my brain. Another personality or impression is playing off of what I'm thinking. It wants to mislead something else, because it'll be a question or something deep that I just want to ignore. I just want to, like, man, fuck this shit. It'll come into my head and I'll ponder it in the way I think of it. I'll break it down in my real quick, analytically, conscientiously, thoughtfully, whateverly. Well, sometimes if I stop in mid-thought, I mean, this is how fucked up it is. I mean, things are sick, or they're insensitive, or they're just heartless. But they'll be treating me like shit. They'll watch me, like, hurt myself and go off and go and be ballistic and be volatile, and they'll just sit there and the next little remark would be something stupid, like a narcissist abusing an empath. But I'll be thinking about something involuntarily about whatever that is, and I'll stop thinking about it, like, fuck that. I don't even, because something else. And then sure enough, in the middle of my thoughts, while all my other emotions and stuff they're doing to me ain't shit. Like, they're like, what you talking about, Willis? Like, they don't know what they're doing. They like, what? Halfway through a thought, if I distract myself and move on to something else, I'll hear a noise say, what were you gonna finish saying? And that's when my middle finger goes up to whatever this is. That's when my middle finger goes up. And because of the lack of whatever within this shit. No, I've been trying to say leave me alone for the longest time, and they won't leave me alone, but I'm thinking of something, and they're like, what? Hey, what were you? That's where the line is drawn, or it would have been drawn. It's drawn before this shit even happens. So, anyways, these impressions that started swirling in my head in the beginning to get my attention and guilt trip and pressure me and sizzle zap me to react a certain way, and then to act like trolls and keep bothering me. And then me realizing these things are demented and they don't give a fuck. After crying and yelling for these things, they just act like, I don't know, it's weird. They act like they've been talking to you for a long time, and they still think you're that person they're talking to. But it's as if someone else cultivated conversations with them under your name, with your voice, with your mentality, regurgitating shit back and forth. But that's how they were acting. But I couldn't hear anything, and I couldn't reciprocate the expectation of the noises. Their expectation anytime I heard something was as if I've been chatting with them, and they're gonna keep talking. They're like, hey, like expecting to keep whatever, and that's what frustrates me. And then like I said, I noticed in the quietness something else reacting back, like to give off the impression that I'm whatever. So anyways, that's one aspect of it. And then another aspect is I think it is those impressions, or the personalities, or I think maybe them. And I think they did mess up. I think they did do something and get all up in my head somehow, or do something like mess up my life. And they're just like cleaning it up, is what I feel. They're cleaning up what they did to play it off like I'm all of a sudden I'm the remote neural monitoring hacker that is bothering them, that's giving them a hard time, that to where all of a sudden these people have to it's a trip. I mean, it's sick. I mean, it's fucked up. And if the lights was to go out on my life right now, everything was to go black, and I just ceased to physically exist, this would be the highlight of another aha, motherfuckers, got you. And then I'll be gone, because I don't want to deal with this shit. But they slowly, as I go through this mad phase, getting driven mad, going to the fucking loony bin, going to the medical, to the 5150, from not being able to hear this shit good enough or whatever, or just trying to like tune it out completely, yet knowing or just having this idea that I just know in the background while I'm thinking or doing anything, there's some distortion and things there's like either thoughts or notions or something getting pulled out of my head like Stephen Hawking. Just like if my thoughts, like if Stephen Hawking, a whole bunch of Stephen Hawkings were surfing on my brainwaves out into the fucking ethosphere, like snitching on my privacy or something, like just like whatever I'm thinking, they'll just verbalize. It'll turn into verbiage somewhere, and it'll have a name attached to it. It'll be addressed to someone, or whoever does this shit probably addresses your thoughts to themselves and then says, oh, what do we have here? And create some dialogue or some shit. I don't know. It's weird. And the names can be crisscrossed. That's why people feel like they're being talked to, and it talked through them. Something talks through them to someone else. Like it makes them. Someone can feel like they're being talked to. Something's reacting to, like all these intricate things you do throughout the day or something. And then at the end of the day, they'll shit on you by bypassing you. And when your mind thinks of, well, what the fuck? I thought that was meant. And then they'll, out of the blue, someone be like, no, not you, you fucking chomo. Not you, fuck you, you're in some sort of hell or something. We ain't fucking with you. We're talking about, and then they'll say my name, like my name's Sammy. They'll say, no, we're talking about Sammy. We're talking about Sammy Velez. And then they'll just, like, you gotta imagine it, right? They'll be like, Sammy Velez, that one over there, that other impression. Not you, you fucking chomo, get out of here. Right after you just expounded and like totally like went off on all these different areas of thought and irritation. Well, okay, let me get back to the climax of this video. Hopefully it's the last one. I don't know, you never know. But they, little by little, as I'm snapping and getting mad, like right now as I'm making this video, something will probably think that I'm talking to it. And it'll probably be saying, oh, really? Really? Oh, and what else? Oh, what else are you going to say to, what else would you say to this? What else? Like very, very, like barely, oh, while I'm snapping, while I'm just like as I'm going through my head. Anyways, while I'm snapping and cussing, like very viciously, those same noises that supposedly wanted to get my attention and make me say something that binds me with them somehow, that makes me in cahoots with something, but it was a bunch of guilt trips, pressure, and bullshit to say, oh, say that you see something or some shit. I'm like, hell no, I don't see sound. Or anyways, those same names, and I don't know why another ex-girlfriend, I don't know why a family member and other things are swirling around within those names of people that are pissing me off and pretending like they don't understand what I'm going through. All of a sudden, every time they make me snap now, and there's another reason why I can't really hear that good, because of, like, right before I say fucking, like right now I was about to say an example, like fucking bitch, and I think I just heard a little whisper like, what would you say to this person? And it's one of the names of the people that from my past. It's weird. It's like they just want to fuck with my head over and over at any moment. But before I cuss or snap about something else, I'll insert a quick, what would you say to this person? No, what would you say to that? And it's these people that are swirling in my head. Now all of a sudden, they have a log of, man, you see how Sammy Velez talks to me, man? You see how he talks to me, man? He's hella disrespectful. It'll like shit right there, and in my mind, I want to defend myself. Man, what the fuck, man? Fuck. And before I say, man, fuck this bullshit, another little thing, what would you say to this? So it's like, all of a sudden, these people who must have hoodwinked me or did something, and now they're like creating their own little log of stuff that I'm supposedly doing to them. Like it's just weird. They'll make me snap and then add in their name. What would you say to this person? Which is not true. I just want this shit to stop. I want this to stop. I don't want to hear some shit like, oh no, well you were sleeping or whatever. Yeah, we didn't hear from you. You wouldn't answer. So this and that. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Fucking leave me alone. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't do that. Oh no, you. They'll create agreements or something. I guess this other noise. Oh, made an agreement or whatever, or something like I'll slip up and start doing, some stuff I ain't done in 20 years that I've been clean and sober from. And because of this pressure, I started feeding into it, and something would, I don't know, I'll start getting heart attacks and start getting like feeling pain and shit. And then out of the blue, it'll be like, oh man, you promised you weren't gonna do that. Like if there's something that cares for me or something, and I've never met it. If there is something that cares for me, it must have been getting led on and talking to something else evil that's pretending to be me or something. And so that's what seems to be happening. I woke up this morning and it just sounded like all of those impressions have their little alibi, and they probably have what's that called? Restraining orders against me and all that. And metaphorically in some noise world somewhere. So it's just a trip how I just noticed how they slowly turned everything around to where I'm a hacker, a neuro thing. I still have files on my laptop. I haven't even turned it on for the past couple of weeks because of I checked my I got curious about I've noticed weird shit on my computer happening, so I looked it up on how to check if there's something wrong with it, and my device manager has a bunch of stuff, like little website root, like weird things in it with these weird APK, all that stuff that Kevin Christian was talking about. He talks about remote neural monitoring, how his ex-girlfriend put him on it, and she gave his thing to all kinds of people, and now they're fucking or whatever, messing with him or something. Anyways, well, I mean, my phone's hacked. The laptop has a bunch of files in it and stuff. I'm waiting to just go to a technician or my brother-in-law or someone to tell me what that shit means. But Kevin was talking about how he wants to, he's like learning how to find his remote neural thingy and the settings, if there is some, and turn that shit off so he can rest, man, and get on with his life in a more wholesome, non-distracted manner. And so I don't know, these things been treating me like if I'm the one bothering them. Every time I react to this noise, they treat me as if I'm eavesdropping on them in my own body. There's a personality wants to act like I'm eavesdropping within my own consciousness. So it seems like there's an impression that's been acting like my consciousness. It just reminded me of that one song. This is your consciousness. You're gonna do what I did. You do, or there's a song I forgot. This is your consciousness. Elroy. This is or whatever. There's a song, but it just seems like something is narrating anything I do throughout the day, as if it's cupcaking with something inside of me, a spirit or a mythical, magical, mystical entity or something. And these things disrespect it anyways. Whatever it is that's in us, something, if there's something more I don't know, more childlike, but magical. There's some demented ass bullshit that is taking it. It seems like it just takes advantage. Like they don't give a fuck. They just disrespect and hoodwink and trick these impressions, or whatever. I don't know, but anyways.